Welcome to Small Biz, Big Wins, where every episode is a new journey into the heart of entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Sommer Poquette, here to navigate the thrilling world of small business with you. Each week, we dive into the inspiring stories and joyful triumphs of real business owners. Get ready to be empowered with actionable advice and, most importantly, celebrate the spirit of small business. Let's dive into how every small victory shapes your big success. This is Small Biz, Big Wins. Let's make it happen. Welcome back to another episode of Small Biz, Big Wins. I'm your host, Sommer Poquette, and today we're talking about working with your family. How do you navigate the conflicts and family roles and keep personal relationships healthy while growing your business? It's not always easy. I remember working for my uncle back in college, and because it was my uncle, I worked harder. I did not want to disappoint him. I wanted him to be proud of me. When you work for your family, that's how it should be. But I know that's not always the case for everyone. My husband runs a family-owned business that his father started, and now it's him and his brother. My nephew is one of his employees, and at one time, my son was an employee. My father owns a business, and my sister works for him. I own a few companies, and my sister Haley works for me, and my daughters worked for me. So I get the dynamics. It can be complicated, and it can also be extremely rewarding. Today's guest is actually my brother-in-law and client, Ken Green. Ken's father, Jay Green, owns and founded 24/7 Sewer and Drain in Petoskey, Michigan. Ken is the general manager, and he works alongside his dad, his brother, and several employees. He knows a lot about running a business, growing a business, and working alongside family. Thanks for joining me today, bro.
Hey, yeah, thank you for having me. Good morning. Good morning.
Absolutely. So before we get rolling, tell everyone listening, because obviously I intimately know what 24/7 Sewer and Drain does,
Mhm.
but anyone listening, what does 24/7 Sewer and Drain do, and what is your role in the company?
Yep. So we are a sewer and septic service, primarily based on emergency calls. Anything that has to do with your plumbing system that's backed up or overflowing or nothing's proper working right. Give us a call. We service approximately 14 counties in northern Michigan, and it's continually growing year by year. Yes, my role in 24/7 is general manager. What does that mean? It just means you have to be all things to all people, especially in a family-run business.
Absolutely. So yeah, let's talk about like that family dynamics, because obviously I know it well, you know it well. You probably have a lot of conversations in your house with, my sister Mackenzie, working for a family. So what is your earliest memory of being involved in the family business, and
Yeah.
how did, like, when you were growing up and you having that family business, how did it kind of in that environment shape your view on work and family? Because your dad's had the business since when?
2005,
It's a
and
long
about
time.
19 years now.
Yeah. So, I mean, you literally grew up in the family
hmm
business. So, what?
Sure did. So there's two different ways I could take that question. The first one is more or less mentally or based off my memory. I remember mom and dad tossing around the idea. This would have been back in 2004.
Okay.
Dad was going to take that leap of faith and start his own business. And at that point, he didn't know what direction he wanted to go. But I remember him consulting me as a little 12-year-old, and he wanted me to draw him a logo. He knew the name. He wanted to do 24/7, but he wanted just to see my input. I don't think we went with any of the designs I've had or that I made, but just to have him bring me in at such an early age to let me know that he's interested in my thoughts on it, I thought that was a really cool thing to take with me over the years.
Yeah.
But physically, the first involvement I had in the business, I remember it again like yesterday. It's my first ever service call. I was 14 years old. It was a Saturday morning emergency job that came in, and this would have been about a year and a half after he established the business.
Mhm.
I remember getting the call. He asked me if I want to go for a ride along. It was a Saturday morning, and it was to a house in Bayview, Michigan.
Mm.
I could drive. I could drive you there. Again remember it like it
It's
was
that
yesterday. And
vivid in your mind
it
that,
was.
yeah.
And he let me run the equipment, clear the clogged drain. Yeah, I was successful on my first attempt, but I also made my first mistake at the same time too, and the rest from there was history.
That's awesome. And
Yep.
I absolutely love, just because knowing your dad, I can actually see him having that conversation with you and asking you to like draw something. And I think
hmm
that's so pivotal because it for you as a young kid, probably thought, oh my God, he wants my
Mhm.
opinion. Like he cares about me.
Mhm.
But it was also involving you in something before the actual conception of it, like before it
Mhm.
actually launched. And I mean, you like, it's amazing that you remember that and felt so
Yeah.
engaged. So that was really smart on your dad's part, whether he planned that or
Yeah.
not. That was
Yeah.
good job, Jay. Yeah. So were you scared to go out on that first call, like to mess up or like,
Um, no, because I was his helper, his ride along. Of
mhm,
course, I was 14 years old. I wasn't going in blinded or,
sure, sure.
with not knowing what I was doing. He did all the diagnostics. He told me where the problem was and what it was. I just had my hands on the machine. He says,
Yeah.
"Get it done," and I cleared it out.
That's
And
awesome.
it wasn't the mistake I was alluding to was when I was on the pulling all the equipment out. I smudged some of their floorboards
Oh,
on the trim. It was hidden behind the toilet. You'll never find it.
yeah.
But that was just interesting. My first ever call out, I made mistakes too,
Yeah.
and I
And
just
how did he handle that?
it was just a very simple, calm, cool, and collected remark. Hey Ken, we don't do that kind of thing. Okay.
Got it.
Yes. And I was like, yes, sir. No problem.
Yeah. When did you start? I mean, 14 was your first ride along and experience.
Yeah.
Did you start actually working for the company at that young? Like,
Yeah. What Dad waited to put me on any kind of payroll or
mm-hmm.
any kind of scheduling until I got my driver's license. And even then, it was just small odds and ends errands for him after school around the
Sure.
weekends. I would take on a few small jobs that he knew I could handle, um, but nothing like I do now, obviously. And did
Absolutely.
I know if I wanted to be in the family business then? No, I had no idea. It was
Sure.
just something. It was just something that was there. It was just something that I participated in. And of course, at 16, you don't know what you're going to do.
Absolutely. Explain to me a little bit, like, because you said, you didn't know if you wanted to be in the family business. You obviously, kind of were involved at the very beginning, and
Yep.
then your dad took you on calls and you started doing things for him. Was it kind of pushed on you, or now you work with your brother as well? Was it kind of like, well, this is a family run business, you're going to do this?
Yeah. Nope. It was never pushed on us whatsoever. Dad
Okay.
allowed us to pursue opportunities. As a matter of fact, 18 years old, fresh out of high school, I was tossing back the idea of either college or Marines.
Oh, I
Um,
didn't even know that.
no, and what the conversation looked like is that's obviously how I present it to my parents. And Dad says, "Can you at least work for me for the summertime and see if you like it?"
Mm,
And I was like, and that was at the time, you don't understand how big of an opportunity that is.
yeah.
You just think it's Dad just wants me to work for him.
Yep.
But no, after I saw what it's like to work for 3, 4, 5 straight months, where it's constant work every day, you're doing a good deed, you're
Hmm.
making people happy, you start to slowly see how quickly you could take this baton and run with it.
Yeah.
And after 13 years now, 14 years now being in the business, I don't think I could have ever done it any other way.
That's
Actually,
awesome.
I wouldn't have done it any other way
And it was just
because.
as simple of him saying,
Mhm,
"Hey, do you wanna just at least work for the summer before you commit
mhm,
to A, B, or
mhm,
C?" And that's all it kind of took. And had he sat down and said, "Okay, great, let's get you in college, let's enroll you in the Marines,"
mhm,
you would have missed that
mhm,
experience of seeing what it's
mhm.
like to work for 24/7.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. So now after, 13, 14 years of working in the
Mhm,
family business, that taking that fork in the road of not going into the Marines in college and working for the family business, how do you balance now the formal management of running a business, which there's a lot of aspects to it, and the company's, and the family's relationship. So you have company
mhm,
relationships, and then you have family relationships because not everyone in your family works for the business. And are there rules or boundaries at like holiday
mhm.
dinners?
Yeah, it's definitely a very, very, very tricky thing to balance, especially when it comes down to disciplinary actions.
Mm,
Or yeah, that's always a tricky thing to do. We try to handle everything with cool, calm, and collected. Um, the balance for me, and I got this from your dad,
mm-hmm.
Bob, is when I'm at work and I have the hat on, that's my only job.
Got it.
I'm there for one reason and one reason only. That's to help put food on the table for all the families involved.
And how many employees does 24/7 Sewer have now?
About a dozen.
Okay, so that's a dozen people that are paying their rent and feeding their families and driving
Yes.
their cars because of the income you provide. And that's a lot.
Yes.
That's a lot of weight on any business owner's shoulders.
Correct. And so being able to present myself professionally, but also keep in the back of my head, this is still over half of them are family members. Has always been a tough line to follow, but it's doable, and I feel like we've done an all right job. A couple of things that I've done though to help. What was the second part of that question?
What are there any like boundaries that you guys have set? Because you're running your business on a
Yeah.
day to day, but then family
Yep.
stuff creeps up. Maybe Kevin comes
Yep.
in and the baby was up all night, and who knows?
Yep.
Like, you always are going to have personal
Yep.
stuff, whether
Yep.
it's your family or not, come
Yep.
into the work environment. So do you guys
Yep.
have boundaries, or how do you go to Thanksgiving and not talk
Yeah.
about business?
Yeah, that one's tough. Christmas, Thanksgiving, all of it.
Yeah.
I do my best to try to keep it at work, but it's inevitable.
Yeah.
It's a big part of everybody's day-to-day life. As far as like being able to set boundaries or that kind of thing, it's I don't know what the word I'm looking for exactly, but for an example, yes, if somebody has issues at home or an emergency, personal emergency pops up, look, we don't have handbooks. We're not corporate.
Absolutely.
It is family first. And so, yes, if Kevin does come to me and says that there's issues with Brandy or Macy,
Yeah.
or Brandy or Mason, go handle it. Because of the fact it's family run, everybody can do a lot of different things.
Sure.
And not just one person does one job. It's everybody does all the jobs.
Everyone pitches
So we have
in.
it's a really good flexibility, and it's a really good laid back, it's not very pressure oriented business. But yeah, we do our best to try to keep all that in mind. You have to.
Yeah.
You can't run it corporate and expect family members or friends to come work and have a good time. It's not going to happen in Northern Michigan.
No, I agree with you. And I mean, my sister Haley obviously works for me and has for this will be her 5th year with Keep It Real Social. And one of the big things is, when we first started, we tried to have these boundaries, and we tried to, during these hours, we're only going to talk about work stuff. And then it just didn't work. I'm not gonna lie. Like, we'll text at 9:00 about something related to work, but at the same time at work, she's talking about family stuff, about her daughter, or hey, Briley's sick, I have to run over to Harbor Springs and get her. And it's like, of course, it's my niece, go. But that's the same for all my employees too. Family comes first, whether you're my family or you're my employee. Your family comes first, and so you need to go to get your kid. Go get your kid.
Correct. And that is something I will never hold over any of my employees' heads or family members' heads. Is if they had to go handle something, especially family oriented, that is just a part of our day-to-day operations.
Yep. We operate the same way, but it is very hard to have those specific boundaries because at the Thanksgiving table, in our family, we have all of these people that are kind of integrated with, whether 24/7 and Sewer is a client of ours, Luxury Bat's a client of ours. We always are talking about business. And I don't know whether that's good or bad, but I think we know when it starts to get heated or it's inappropriate, we do kind of squelch it and be like,
there are plenty of topics. Plenty of topics that you shouldn't touch.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's typically when it comes to it's personal things.
Absolutely, yeah.
Even though they're widespread known issues in the business, we don't talk about them outside of the business.
Absolutely, yeah. And I don't think this, not to tee you up on this question, and because there is not really a one size fits all for any family business. So anyone listening thinking, okay, I'm going to learn the secret to balancing, my business management and the formal aspects of business and family relationships. What's the secret, Summer and Kenny? There is no secret. What works well for 24/7's family business and Keep It Real Social's family business aren't going to always be the same. You got to do what works for you.
Correct.
And it can get complicated.
Yep. You learn as you go. After being in the GM role for, I don't know, what has it been now, 6.5 years. I still don't have a template.
Yeah.
I'm still learning, and I'm kind of still paving the way to how it's going to be, going forward.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't have any rock solid evidence
Yeah,
or
there's
facts on how to run a family business. You learn something new every day.
Yep, you are completely well, and you have a lot of different family dynamics going on and things happening,
Hmm.
and, everybody is has their own personality, so
Hmm.
what works for one family member might not work for another, so it's really hard, but so as the business has grown and evolved, how have your family roles within the company changed? Like, can you discuss a time when these roles had to adapt significantly because of something?
Yeah, that's a good question. Dad, when you think of the family business or the family structure, Dad is on top. He's the peak of the pyramid, so
Mhm.
to speak, the provider for all the family. That's how it's always been since day one. Mom was always had the stay at home role. There's six
Mhm.
of us kids, and that's a full time job in itself.
Yeah.
God bless her soul.
Yeah.
And two older girls, two middle boys, and two younger girls. That's how the family structure looked. But yeah, with Dad being the sole proprietor, he was the provider for our family.
Mhm.
That dynamic had changed in 2017, which we were all accustomed to. We looked up to him for everything. We went to him for everything.
Mhm.
But when he had his accident in 2017, which put him out of work for about 3 or 4 years, um, I had to fill those shoes. And as like the talk about family roles having to adapt into a business role,
Yeah.
now people were coming to me, and
Mhm.
in one way or another, all six of us kids eat off the plate of 24/7 in one way or another.
Yep.
Now, not all of us are on payroll, not all of us work in the business, but because it's a family business, there's like family benefits, family perks.
Sure.
Um, don't want to get into too many specifics like money wise or
Yeah.
possession wise, but you understand that when it's a family business,
Mhm.
it's not it doesn't stay inside those four walls.
Absolutely.
Dad's made it so that everybody can have a little piece of this. But what had happened after that accident was everything had to come across my desk, and
Mhm.
I had to fill that provider role for a solid 4 years, which taught me a lot. It
Yeah.
definitely taught me a lot about business. It taught me a lot about life, and it taught me about how and why he was so giving and and calm
Mhm.
in that role. I knew exactly why he was that way. You don't want to rock the apple cart that you're pushing. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
No, it makes a lot of sense. So, literally, and you went from just being an employee
Yeah.
and having literally your dad as your boss and your mentor,
Hmm.
and nobody saw the tragic accident in 2017. You could have never guessed that that was going to happen.
Mm-mm.
Nobody knows what tomorrow holds. And when it happened, you literally had to step into your dad's shoes, which are
Hmm.
impossible to fill, and everyone was coming to you instead of to him. They
Hmm.
couldn't. So that stress, did that I mean, that was very stressful. I remember the time and all of that. And but you did it because you had to do it.
Yeah, you did. There was no way I was saying no to that.
Absolutely.
I'd seen what he had put together over those previous 50 or 13 years,
Mhm.
and he I didn't know anything about the insides operations,
Yeah.
but he had at least taught me how to take control
Mhm.
and how to assert myself. And I don't know, there's a bunch of different ways we can go take it from there, but I was
Sure.
thankful that up to that point he had at least set me up to a spot where I could take it and run with it.
Absolutely.
But again, learning the insides and the outs all on your own.
Mm.
It's something that's kind of what has propelled me the last I don't know how many years to get where we are now. And one thing I don't want to forget about is the other people around me
Mhm.
during those times. My little brother, who was just a worker, he did service
Mhm.
calls. He was to see what he did when all that went down. I had to come off the road. Most days I couldn't be out there working with them.
Yeah.
Kevin, my brother, um, became a man as well, taking on so much responsibility as far as the jobs. We were calling him our service manager
Yeah.
because if there was any questions, problems, or concerns, he was the one that you would go to because he's the one out there. He's the boots on the ground, and I can't discredit anything he has ever done or forget
Yeah.
about it is what I should say. And again, the employees at the time we had around us, everybody stepped up all for the right reasons.
Well, and I think that, you said even though you didn't know how to do everything, you had some preparation from all of the
Mhm.
training and the support that your dad had given you in all those previous years. And when something unforeseen happened, you weren't just thrown into the lake and, with no life jacket. You had some
Yep.
you had the history that you could take forward to lead the
Mhm.
company in, you know, the tumultuous time that you were at. And then everyone else was the same. Everyone kind of just stepped into those roles because you didn't want to see the legacy that your dad had built crumble.
Crumble. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it really was, we're going to step up. We're going to do this. We're going to figure this out. We don't know how,
Mhm.
but we're
Nope.
going to do it and we're going to make dad proud. And I know that you definitely have done that. So, there are lots of things in all businesses, whether they're family or not, where you have growth and evolution, and there are times of adaptation. And in a family, usually when it's times of growth and adaptation, sometimes it is when there are tragic moments that happen. And that really pivoted. Your company pivoted and did really well during that. So, and that is a testament to what your dad built.
You don't learn anything from easy victories. You only learn stuff from the hard ones.
All right. So before Kenny, we move on and we chat about preparing the next generation for the future. Let's take a quick ad break to hear from our
Mhm.
sponsor, Keep It Real Social. And if you're listening and you'd like to be a sponsor and your target market is small business owners, email Summer with an O at Keep It Real Social or visit the show notes. Friends, are you spinning your wheels on what to post on social media? Are you frustrated that people search for your business? They're looking for your products and services, but they can't find you? Facebook and Instagram go down and you can't email your customers because you don't have an email list, let alone know how to grow one or create these beautiful monthly newsletters. Look, you're great at running your business, and Keep It Real Social is excellent at marketing. So let them do what they excel at for you. Let them give you those marketing hours back so you can work on your business and not in your business. Visit keepitrealsocial.com and stop feeling frustrated because they can help. All right, so Kenny, let's talk about the next generation. Looking towards the future, how are you preparing the next generation? Like you said, almost half of your staff are family members.
Mhm.
What do you guys have a plan for moving forward in the future and people taking over? And like what values and lessons are you trying to emphasize as you're trying to bring up family members to take more of those leadership roles?
Yeah, good question. So currently, me and Kevin are the next generation.
Hmm.
There isn't anybody below us as far as like children.
Hmm.
Of course, our family's full of nieces and nephews, and one
Yeah.
day they might get there. But we're talking currently, it's me, Kevin, and our two brother-in-laws, Kyle and Devin. Um, we are the next generation, and the nice thing is with having dad still in the business. He is back full time now. By the way, he's going
Yes.
on about 2 years now, back full time. Not doing much on the road, which is to be
Sure.
expected. But
Yep.
just having the brains and the brains there in the office is nice. He is continually teaching us things and showing us, even showing us the way he's always done it. I don't think a day goes by again where we don't learn something new,
Yeah.
and that's always a good thing. Um, do we have a template going forward? Probably not. You just
Sure.
have to take it day by day,
Yep.
week by week. You don't know what the structure is going to look like a year from now. You can't
Nope.
plan that because we give family 100% our support and liberty to pursue. what will make them happy.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can't guarantee that these people will be here. I don't say these people. I can't guarantee that certain family members or certain employees won't be here or will
Sure.
be here a year from now. But as long as we continue to stick to our principles and the way that we have been taught, I have no worry in the world that 24/7 can't run for another 40 or 50 years, at least while I'm alive. And we'll have a plan sooner or later for
Sure.
who's going to take it after me.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're kind of taking it year by year. And honestly, with everything that happened in 2017 and then we have COVID through all of
COVID
that,
was a
right?
huge
So you have
issue.
COVID
Hmm.
and you have this, tragic situation that happened in 2017 and there's you're kind of still in recovery mode. I think a lot of businesses are. And so it's kind of hard to plan too far ahead when you're kind of just
Hmm.
putting the pieces back together and your dad's now back full
Correct.
time and so you're literally taking it year by year, but your
Correct.
growth has been substantial and you just continue to grow,
Hmm.
which is a testament to all the work that you guys have put in. um
Yeah.
what are some of your favorite things about working for family and working with family?
Well, there's never any awkwardness. You know who it is. You
Yeah.
know what they're about. They've been in the family for many, many, many years.
Yeah.
Um, Again, good things is flexible
Hmm.
how flexible the business is and how flexible your schedule can be, especially in a 24-hour operation. We have guys on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and so being able to rearrange it, everybody's flexible. We
That's
know that we're going
awesome.
to be working a lot of hours, and so it's never a hassle.
Mhm.
What was I going to say here, really quick? I lost my train of thought.
It's okay.
But by the to put some context in that question you had, my dad had been doing plumbing and sewer and septic work 20 years before he even started his own business for another gentleman downstate. So he was able to come into business with the knowledge needed to run it or work
Mhm.
in it, I should say. Of course, he had to learn how to manage it as a
Sure.
business owner. It's a way different dynamic. But that statement leading into this is, how do we prepare the next generation? As long as I continue, and Kevin, as long as me and Kevin continue to train the new hires or the new family members the way we were,
Mhm.
there will be no problems with
Yeah.
keeping the business as strong as it is.
Yeah,
And
taking
that all started right there with Jay and all of his 40 plus years of knowledge.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I like the point you made that, he came with this information and this knowledge and this experience. And then he formulated, the business and his business model and how he wanted to run it. And then he continued to, as he onboarded, his sons and his family members and
Mhm.
other employees, teaching, passing that on year after year and to each person. And so if you can continue, that what he started, then you're in good shape.
Mhm.
You're in really good shape. So, um,
Correct.
for anybody listening who uh, would want to start a family run business or are thinking about joining their family business, what do you wish you had known before taking on this role in your family's enterprise?
There's no privacy.
That is
That's
so true.
There's no privacy,
Yeah,
and so as long as everybody is mature about it,
sure.
and they keep other people's feelings foremost in the front of their head,
Yeah.
uh, you'll be fine. But privacy's been the biggest, you know,
Yeah.
shocker. You know.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like I think of it a lot of when you are living with your siblings when you're
Hmm.
younger, right? Like my sister and I shared a bedroom. We had no privacy. We heard what the other one said on the phone. We heard the
Hmm.
bathroom. You heard if you're sick, if you feel good, if you have a boyfriend, if you like somebody. Like when you live or share a room with your sibling, there's no privacy. And it's kind of like that when you start working together too. It's like
Sure is.
it's all that privacy is gone, and you're taking all of that institutional family knowledge from all of those years of being a sibling and being a family member, and now you're bringing it into the business. And luckily
Hmm.
our employees have a good time with that, because Haley and I jab each other a lot. And
Yep.
and Haley's like, okay, well, I know that Summer's doing that because this is Summer, and
Yep.
like, she's my sister, and so everyone will
Yeah.
start laughing, because she has no problem calling me out on stuff, and vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you do have to have a team that can handle working in and around family members too, and take all that with
Mhm.
stride, because the way I talk to my sister and the way we might jab each other might be a little different how I would talk to an employee, like a team member.
That's true.
And
Hmm.
so the team members know that, and we've had, someone come into the office not knowing that Haley and I are siblings, and then they will leave and be like, "Are you guys related?" And we're like,
Yep.
everyone in the office is like, "Yes, they are related." So, there's that dynamic to it as well. But like you said,
Sure is.
that privacy is kind of, it's gone. She knows what's
Yeah.
going on in my personal life, she knows what's going on in my business life. And for her role specifically, well, she handles the numbers in the business, so she knows intimately how
Hmm.
my business is doing. And
Hmm.
that like you said, the lines of not having any privacy, it's, you
Hmm.
got to get used to that, right?
Sure
So,
do.
um any advice for someone listening who doesn't work in a family business, how to handle working with family?
Boy, because yes, yes and no. And the
Mhm.
reason it's a no is because every family is different.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be working with them, you already have to know their tendencies
Mhm.
as a human being, and reshape or restructure the way you think about things at work.
Mhm.
So yeah, you mentioned it. Haley can jab you, right?
Mhm.
My brother and me and my brother Kevin, we can get going too.
Yeah.
But it's because we know how each other operates.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
you don't know how your family member operates, you might want to dip your toe in, because you don't know if they're going to be the same person inside work as they are outside of work.
Yeah, for
You know,
sure. Absolutely. And
and
I
I'm
think,
definitely not. I can attest that I'm definitely not the same person inside work that I am out of work.
yeah.
And it makes it easier for people knowing where the line is at.
Mhm.
But at the same time, um, it's tricky for them because they know they can poke at me
Yep.
during work, and they're going to get a different response than if they were at the family gathering.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny that you say that. And I think it is hard when you are working with people that aren't your family, and
Mhm.
they see the jabs between you and your siblings, or and luckily our team is just really used to it, and they have a lot of fun with it, and they laugh at us a
Mhm.
lot, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you two, you sisters." And
Yeah.
so it works, really well for us. And but we let
Yeah.
everybody know, like, "Hey, we're family, we're joking around, we're having a good time with it." And when she starts to get upset with me, or I start to get upset with
Mhm.
her, everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, sisters." Like,
Mhm.
it's like, so it's okay. But yeah, there are those
Yeah.
dynamics in a family
Yep.
run business. And I, like you said, not every family is the same. And if you're close with your sibling, it might look a little different than if you're not
Mhm.
close with your sibling as
Correct.
well.
And
So,
the icing on the cake of that question, from me, this is where I'll stand on it, is just try it, do it, because if it works, it can be one of the most beautiful things you could ask for, where
mhm,
you can be with your family during what's supposed to be a hard segment of your day-to-day lifestyle is work. But
yeah,
if you can get it to work and be around family and work with them, it is an absolutely beautiful and heartwarming thing that I personally get to be a part of, seeing mom and dad every day,
yeah.
um, being able to work hand in hand with my little brother Kevin. I, I couldn't ask for a better job. And yeah, if it works, it's a beautiful thing.
I agree. And it's, there's been so many times in the last 5 years of my business where Haley has been able to see a lot of my wins and triumphs and to be alongside of me with,
Yeah.
when those things are happening. I often use, I don't say my business often. I usually say we or our, and she'll
Mm-hmm.
remind me, this is your business. And I'm like, yeah, it might be on paper, but it's a we situation. And with my whole team,
Mm-hmm.
it's we're accomplishing this. We've done this. This is our win, our accomplishment, because it takes more than just the person leading to make
Mm-hmm.
the things happen. And so, but when you have your sister or sibling alongside of you during these big wins and triumphs, and even the hard times, I can't, I cannot even count the number of times that I've cried or I've had a really bad day or I've doubted myself. And there's nothing like your sibling coming alongside of you being like, you've got this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
just, wipe those tears, pull up, put on your big girl pants. You can do this. And that is monumental in my mind, to have that person behind you for good and
Yeah.
bad times. So it's
Yeah.
definitely worth working in a family business,
Mm-hmm.
even when there are struggles.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Couldn't agree more with that. I could not agree more with that statement. That goes hand in hand with
yeah.
it's a beautiful thing. Yeah, it is a beautiful thing, especially when you have those good days or bad days. You get to share them with the people that care about you the most.
Yep, absolutely. So, one final question I ask all of my
Mm-hmm.
guests, but what is a big business win you've had that you can share to inspire other fellow business owners and those maybe operating or running a family owned business?
Hmm.
It's my show stumper.
Mm-hmm. Think about this for a second, because I have two different ways you can look at what is a big win.
Mhm.
What is a big win in business, especially a family business.
Yep.
Something basic, but it should be addressed every single day of the week, is a day that you work, you have no complaints, and nothing but good jobs.
Mhm.
That could be technically a big win, but
So,
it's small.
yeah.
But you have to build off of that. Um, Something that could inspire somebody is just seeing what we came from in 2005 with Dad and his pickup truck full of tools,
Mhm.
to a fleet of 10 service trucks covering 14 counties. If we can do it, just a blue collar family from Petoskey, I
Mhm.
think anybody could start a business, a family oriented business, and get it to work as well.
That is a huge win, and I think they both are big wins, and that's the thing about this question, is that every big win is different for everybody. For some people, it's
Hmm.
they landed their dream job. For some people, it is they, won an award, and other people, it is the simplest of things. Like you just said, I had a good day. Um, every nobody was hurt on the job. Everybody that we worked for was happy, all
Hmm.
compliments. Like, wow, we can put our head down on the pillow, go to bed, and know
Hmm.
we nailed it. That is a huge win.
Yep.
But like you said, then there's other huge wins of growing your fleet and being
Hmm.
able to feed 12 families. That is
Hmm.
huge, Kenny. And I really think that any small business owner listening, when you go from a solopreneur to an entrepreneur and you start employing people, and their paycheck is paying their bills, feeding their family, allowing them to take vacations, to have cars, pay rent, that feels good.
Yeah, sure does.
But it
And
also is a weight on the business owners, shoulders,
it
because
is.
you want to keep that going and you want to
Yeah.
be able to give them pay raises and bonuses and offer
Yep.
benefits and to grow
Yep.
that. So,
Yep.
yeah. So what
A lot of sacrifices.
Yep. Lots.
Um, a couple small little sound bites for anybody, and this is. Let me think about this for a second. If there's a weight on your shoulders of having mouths to feed, so to
Mhm.
speak, there's one really 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 good saying that you could just say to yourself every single day, and you'll make money doing it this way, is you take care of your customers, number one, all their needs, every one of them.
Mhm.
You take care of your equipment, Those are your tools. Those are provided to help put food on your table. Take care of your customers, number one. Take care of your equipment, number two. Everything else takes care of itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've got to treat your customers and the
Mm-hmm.
people that you're servicing. You've got to treat them like
Yep.
gold,
Yep.
because they're going to speak about you, they're going to
Mm-hmm.
refer you, and they're going to need you again. And you want them to call you again and not a competitor.
Also, if you're going into a business in general or family-run business, just know if you want to make everybody in the world happy, don't be a leader. Just sell ice cream.
All right, explain that a little bit more.
So, being a leader, you have to make tough decisions, and not everybody's going to like it.
Yeah.
But if you own an ice cream shop, you think everybody that coming up that window isn't happy.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I think about that.
Interesting. Sell ice
Yeah,
cream.
everybody's happy eating ice cream.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a quote from Steve Jobs I took for a long while ago.
Oh, I love it.
Is
Sell
yeah,
ice cream. All right.
don't be a leader.
Sell
Sell
ice
ice cream.
cream.
But yeah, that's also too tough decisions, and you know what decisions need to be made in business.
Yeah.
As the general manager or the owner, and not everybody's going to agree with it, and that's okay. That it is what it is. We'll be here. We'll be here still 50 years from now, working, running the business.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
It's a
one
good.
decision that upsets a few
Mm-hmm.
isn't going to, they're not going to stay upset, right? Like, you
No.
have to make the best decisions you can as a leader, put in the position that you're in to grow the company. And, just like mom and dad make decisions and
Yeah.
the kids don't always like them, but you have to do what's in the best interest of your family and your kids. And that's the same with
Yeah.
a family run business. So it's just
Yeah.
how.
I don't want to offend anybody that sells ice cream because it's probably a hard job.
Well, you know what? I still think I have wrist issues because I scooped ice cream at
Too
Kilwins.
much. Yeah.
I scooped ice cream at Kilwins in high school, and my wrist
Yeah.
still hurts. So anyone who scoops ice cream, God bless ya.
I
I
should
don't
have
know.
used the analogy. You got to break a few eggs to make an omelet, but
Yeah.
that's just so generic.
Yeah, that's so true though. You've got to break a few
Yeah.
eggs. You're going to get some eggshells in your omelets when you're learning. So it's just how it
Sure are.
goes. But well, Ken, thanks for taking the time to chat with me about family and business. It's not
Mm-hmm.
always easy, but like you said, it sure is worth it and a beautiful thing if you get the opportunity to do it. So, visit the show notes, everybody, to learn more about Kenny and his family business. Because if you're in Northern Michigan, 24/7 Sewer and Drain can help you with your sewer and drain emergencies. Don't try to handle those clogged drains on your own. Please. We've heard some bad stories from people trying to solve things on their own. So, let me just end with a heartfelt thank you for tuning in. As a thank you, I've added a link to the show notes to sign up for a marketing planning worksheet, for content planning calendar, and a guide to understanding those social media metrics. And don't forget to follow us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And if you could leave a comment and a review, I'd appreciate it. It's one of the most helpful things that you can do for Small Biz Big Wins, so we can keep recording, is to leave us a review and a comment. So, marketing planning worksheet and the content planning calendar and guide to understanding social media metrics, it's all in the show notes. So check it out and have a great week.